Hello, my name is Alexander, and today we're going to go over the brand new critical changes that were introduced with Karamelle. Critical is now more of a comparative stat than a percentage like it was before, so obviously everything's going to be different, such as your multiplier and your chance to crit. And today, hopefully, after going through this video, you might get a better grasp of the new system. Critical is calculated with 2 dice rolls, the first being your roll, being your chance to crit, and then your opponent's chance to block. In this case, both players and opponent have 250 block and crit. With this math, you have a 75% chance to crit, and your opponent has a 25% chance to block. Roll the dice, your dice rolls within your crit range, so you crit. Now your opponent rolls the dice. They roll within their block range, so they block. The equation will end there. Now let's say, for example, in your opponent's dice roll, they do not block. So in this case, your crit goes through, now your multiplier goes into effect. Your rating and your opponent's block rating will have an effect on your multiplier, so in this case, you have a 1.25x multiplier. In this example, I have 142 crit, and my friend has 109 in block. She blocks, so the equation just ends there. Now in this example, she does not block. Based upon my crit and her block, my multiplier is 1.3x, so after calculating with my damage, this should do 702 damage. In this example of high crit versus low block, my friend has 450 crit and I only have 59 block. She gets the crit through, and she has a 1.72x multiplier. As you can see, the damage from the calculator is a little bit off, but the calculator is not perfect. Now what about spells that affect your crit and block? In this case, Vengeance adds a bit of a boost to your crit percentage and your multiplier, but Trickster adds a huge boost to your multiplier and your crit. But again, this is just an example. It is heavily dependent on your opponent's block as well. However, with spells like these, if you have too much crit or your opponent has too little block, you're not going to see that much of a difference. You can only hit the roof so high, and you can only go so low. In this example, I'll show you the differences with using Conviction. It's a bit of a boost as well, versus using something like Sentinel, which obviously offers a much greater boost. Things are very different between levels 50 and 100, however, as your crit percentage is going to be very different between the two. But once you hit level 100, every other sequential level after that does not affect your crit. Now what about critical heals? Now you're not going to block critical heal, but your crit block is actually going to affect your multiplier. In this example, I use a Pixie with my crit and my outgoing and incoming stats. This Pixie should do about 1104 according to the calculation. Very close, a little bit off, but like I said, the calculator is not perfect. The last thing to talk about with the crit heals is if you have too much block, crit heals are not going to show that big of a difference. Now, this may sound dumb, but it actually makes sense. Why should a tank be healing for so much? And odds are you have all that block, you're going to have a lot of resist too. You should be tanking. So there's no reason that you should be healing for like 1,000,000 when you have all the resist and all the block in the world. In the end, these crit changes are going to help for the longevity of the game, and honestly, I really do like the new system. You can control your stats, you don't have to worry about max crit anymore, you can focus more on damage, you can mix max your gear, and best of all, it feels more like controlled RNG rather than just straight up RNG. Now the calculator will be available for everyone to download as a template through Google Sheets with a link below. I will say that this calculator was made by me with a lot of help from Twitter users TD Banks and Charlie134. These guys helped me out a ton on making these formulas, and if it wasn't for them, this calculator would not exist. If you want to see a different perspective talking about the crit changes, do check out my friend Haiga's video. He does talk about the new crit changes. And in the far future, I'm sure he may make videos on new setups that will help give you a good median on crit and damage. I highly suggest you guys check him out. He's a really nice guy and he's a wonderful friend of mine. I do hope this video has helped you guys out, and I'm gonna say this now. If I'm wrong, I hope a dev calls me out, because if they do, we can get more answers to the crit system and would definitely help out the community greatly. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.